Okay. It is the final stream of my 10th year of streaming. Tomorrow is my 11-year stream anniversary. So, let's do some Final Fantasy. There are 2 things that I want to get done today. Depending on how those go, I might also do some Bosnia. Maybe. Basically, although that's a point, what do I want to do it as? Basically, we have the last... Right, yeah, everything is, apart from this, is just the Vanguard set. So we just have the tank role quests left, so we can finish those off. Then I can rank up with both the allied societies. And yeah, depending on how we're feeling after that, I might do a bit of Bosnia, but I also might just stop there because tomorrow's the 24-hour stream, or at least the start of the 24-hour stream, so I might try and take it easy. But we'll see. The narwhal beckons. Is this one gonna piss me off? Oh, hello. Judging by your attire, you must be the traveller from across the seas. Then I suppose Brook Evu has enlisted you to our aid? That you are guided here safely must be the work of the brave narwhal, who remains watchful even in this dire time. We are ever grateful for its vigilance. My name is Loazanekwi, and I hail from the northern reaches of Shaktaral, where even our breath freezes when caught in the chilling winds. Our people revere a Tural Vidral of the narwhal, whose essence rests in the cradle of the sleepless, our most sacred treasure. Though through fathomless depths it swam without rest, protecting its home from any who would do it harm. Legends tell the narwhal could place the burden of its fatigue upon another, and thus was able to maintain its vigil night and day. So too can any who possess the cradle lull a person, willing or no, into a deep slumber, all while avoiding the need for sleep themselves. Needless to say, such power could cause untold harm in the wrong hands. Thus was the greatest warrior of our village, Tentoawa, tasked with crossing the ocean and returning that which is most sacred to us. I'd have joined him, but I feared I would only be a burden, so I remained here, that I might find someone to send to his aid. Tentoawa has ever rushed bravely and blindly into the thick of things, leaving me behind to watch and worry. But if there's anything I can do to help him, even a little, then I must. Brook Evu has done well to send you to me. I can tell you're just the woman to temper his more reckless tendencies and keep him safe during his quest. As luck would have it, a letter from Tentoawi arrived shortly before you did. It seems he discovered the thief made their way to a place called Ishgard. While I don't doubt his prowess, even Tentoawa would be rendered helpless before the narwhal's lullaby. Please, Could you follow him to Ishgard and find him before he does anything rash? Ishgard's like a second home to me. Thank you. I knew the Narwhal would guide a brave protector to our side. Tentoa sails to an unfamiliar place, but despite his hasty nature, he'd doubtless spend time gathering information about his new surroundings before planning his next step. If Ishgard has a place like this one, where people gather to drink and talk, he might go there first. Ask for a swordsman with blue hair and attire like mine, and I'm sure it won't be long until you find him. Oh, I'm gonna need to go to the Forgotten... That's not what I meant to do. Well, I mean, this kind of works out. It's kind of brought me where I needed to go. Well, at least it's closer. Okay, yeah, I fucked up. All I can hear is the sound of leather. Is that from my pants? No, it's got to be from the boot. It's not from the boots. It's from the jacket? The jacket makes the sound of leather. That's a detail I don't think I've ever noticed before. If it isn't after, what'll it be? Your finest blue-haired twink, please. A lad from the Western continent. Well, can't be going around gossiping about the comings and goings of my customers now, can I? It's a quick way to an empty tavern. Happy affiliate anniversary. Well, it starts a bit early. It's not well, I'm saying it's tomorrow is my stream anniversary. My affiliate anniversary is actually a weird one because I got it whilst I was in America for 5 months and wasn't streaming. So my affiliate one doesn't really matter, but my stream anniversary matters. How you doing, Scott? A lad from the Western continent. Well, can't be going around gossiping about the comings and goings of my customers now, can I? That's a quick way to an empty tavern. But I suppose, since you're you, I can make an exception just this once. A lad, much like the one you described, walked through my door not long ago. Was asking anyone whose ear he could bend about some stolen narwhal or some such he was after. Usually you buy someone a drink before interrogating him, but not him. Nobody knew what he was going on about, but he was determined. Asked where else in Ishgard people might gather to flap their lips. So I told him to head to the Jeweled Crozier. If you leave now, I reckon he'll still be there. You'll know him when you see me. You'll know him when you see him. Trust me. You're alive, making some baked potatoes. I'm a potato. Nice. I had grilled chicken and ranch salad again. But it was pretty good. It's pretty good. I have a load of chicken ready in the fridge for if I feel like having a salad tomorrow whilst on the 24-hour stream. Let's be honest. Probably not going to feel like a salad. What the fuck did you say to insult him? Bunch of useless... The noble's horn! You'd think manners keep people warm, how desperately these people cling to them. And here I'm trying to rid their city of a thief. Yes? Seems you know me. Don't think I've ever seen you before. I'd remember. Loazaniqui sent you. Even across oceans, she can sense when I'm in trouble. Well, I won't deny a helping hand, especially one with her blessing. I'm having no luck getting information from these people. Seems there are unwritten rules regarding favors that no one bothered to tell me. I know the thief traveled here, but that's where the trail runs cold. I thought it'd only be a matter of time until they used the cradle to commit some misdeed or another. Seems nothing is amiss within or without Ishgard's walls. I have only a description to go on, though it's availed me nothing so far. A woman of a race known in this land as Elizan. She has striking red hair and eyes the colour of rust. A scar dominates her forehead, and a mole rests upon her lips. She came to my village posing as a scholar with an interest in the cradle. Although she gave us a name, I now know it to be a lie, just like everything else that spewed from her mouth. The bounty of meat, vegetables, and fruit she offered was worth its weight in gold to us. After the cold snap we suffered last year, we couldn't afford to turn her away. But looking back, I realised how brazen her deception was. Although she wore the robes of a scholar, she moved with the poise of a predator. I marked her as a fearsome warrior the moment I laid eyes upon her. Of course, she wouldn't have been able to travel so far north on her own if she was unseasoned, so I thought nothing of it at the time. It was my first misstep of many. That's all I know. It's not much, but if you see even the slightest scrap of a clue in there, be a damn sight better than what I currently have. She feels even an ounce of guilt. She'll seek penance. She won't. Skill sword should be known among the knights of the congregation. That feels, yeah. That feels appropriate. Knights, was it? I suppose that's what you call these deadly-looking fellows clad in steel? Yes. You may be onto something there. But where would we find one willing to speak? At their barracks near the tavern. I know the way. I'll meet you there. Oh, the Knight's Most Heaven is down there. Why, Mistress Bunn, what brings you to the congregation? This Passage of the Unbound's not a name I've heard before, but if one of their number has brought an artifact of great power to Ishgard, we should be ill-advised to suffer their presence. We shall act on this information at once. If there's aught that would threaten the peace, then it is our duty to root it out. Consider the knights of the congregation at your disposal. Thank you for hearing us out. Truly. Now, does anything about the description we shared ring a bell? The Elizan woman with red hair and eyes the color of rust. Wait, you said she bore a scar on her forehead, yes? And a mole? No, it could not be. You know who she is? Well, such information is usually privy only to those within our order. Pray, understand my hesitation. What? Weren't you listening to anything we told you? She's too dangerous to be left alone. This isn't the time for secrecy. I know I'm a stranger in your city, but I can't stand by while innocent lives might be at risk. Of being put to sleep? If you can't trust Tentoa, then trust me. You're right, of course. If the hero who ended the Dragon Song War is not worthy of our trust, then who is? Very well. Master Tentoa, pray accept my apologies. Although you may not be Ishgardian, your desire to keep its people safe is plain to see. We shall place our trust in you, as Mistress Bunn has. I'm glad we can see eye to eye. Now then, what do you know of this thief? Your description called back some old memories. Memories of a knight named Leofine. Leofine. Merely recalling her story makes me ill at ease.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Thank you for reminding me that I haven't changed the settings on that yet. Yeah. I think Twitch is like, no, Twitch does it where it starts it like, I think it starts 12 hours before. So the anniversary is actually tomorrow. Wow, it's not the affiliate. You thought we had an agreement on no cutscene reading time interference. Normally, yes. Normally, yes. The TTS will be made much more expensive shortly. It's Final Fantasy XIV, who cares? Well, it's a non-voiced dialogue, which means I can just reread stuff if I need to. For shout after to be more expense and limit usage per user. There we go. You wasn't aware of, or you'd have waited. It's fine. It's more for massively like story-based games where everything's told to you like in a cutscene that is voiced. So like you can't like go back if you missed something. That's more the stuff that I get worried about. But again, like I need to change those settings, so don't worry, it's not your fault for using something that's there. Merely recalling her story makes me ill at ease, for the mark she left upon our honourable order was black as pitch. None know of her whereabouts since she was expelled from the congregation. I'd thought living with the shame of her deeds would be punishment enough, but if she now consorts with villains that threaten the very foundation of order, it is clear we can suffer her freedom no longer. I shall inform my superiors of this development and suggest the congregation does all in its power to track down Leofine and place her in custody. If we learn aught of value, I promised to share it with you at once. Really? That's more than I could have asked. I suppose we ought to consider what to do in the meantime. Care to join me over there? I also need to set up... something else, which I've just made a note of. In fact, actually, I think I've already set that up, I just haven't activated it. So, we have a name. Leofine. Former Knight of Ishgard. That means she knows how to hide herself in this city well. Grasping about at straws won't get us anywhere. My own unfamiliarity does little to help our chances. We may have no choice but to wait until the knights discover a lead. Nevertheless, I intend to spend every waking moment learning more about this city and its workings. As for you, I only ask that you be ready to move at a moment's notice. Until then, be well. There you are! I'm walking Ishgard's streets whenever I've been able in the last 2 seconds, and I've taken to searching for any sleeping people. You see, the land I'm from isn't much warmer than this, and people know not to tempt fate by dozing off in the open air. Even those blind with drink manage to find their way home somehow. I figure the only force powerful enough to overcome that instinct for self-preservation would be the cradle. So if we find a sleeper exposed to the elements, we may very well discover Leofine nearby. I can't imagine she brought it all this way just to remain idle. It's a tedious prospect, but we need to scour every back alley and shadowed walkway before anyone catches something much worse than a cold. Mistress Munn, Master Tentoa, I bring good tidings. The Temple Knights wasted no time in distributing handbills across Ishgard containing Leofine's description. These efforts have already borne fruit. We but recently received a report of someone matching her features being sighted. Really? Where? She was sighted near Camp Dragonhead by patrolling sentry. He described a woman with red hair and a distinct scar on her forehead. So either it's Leofine or it's someone cosplaying as Harry Potter. The outpost can be reached by passing through the Gates of Judgment and heading east. Once there, speak with Sir Eugenio for the full report. I knew she'd show herself. Let's hurry. What's up, Eugenio? I was informed you were on the way. This is concerning the report by one of our sentries, yes? He cited a woman matching the description in the handbill sent by the congregation. He was heading south along the footpath, but that's all we know. Yes, this is Eugenio. What? Hold fast. I shall send aid at once. What happened? A shipment of supplies was waylaid by monstrous beasts. A contingent of Temple Knights should be protecting it, but something's amiss. They need our help. We would be in your debt. The shipment was attacked on the road west of the observatorium. I shall muster more knights. Please, go find my men before any lives are lost. No. It should be close, right? I'll search the other side of the river. You search further down the road and keep your weapon at the ready. No! Oh no, the chocobos are just sleeping. It's fine. They're just sleeping. You saved us. We were almost... We won't be feasting today. Not a moment too soon. Wide eye watches eternal, and eternal is the sleep it bestows. We were too late. No, they're not. Nah, just look. They're asleep is all. Good. Good. The trusty chocobos suddenly became unsure on their feet, and the wagon toppled onto the side of the road. There was nothing for it but to fix the damage on the spot. The temple knights went to secure the area, but before I knew it, each and every one of them had fallen asleep where they were standing. Then the beasts attacked. It was just me before those snarling fangs. Time to wake up. Sleep here any longer and the cold will have you. If it was that easy to just wake them up... What happened? Maybe it wasn't easy. We fell asleep. But we were patrolling. He must be mistaken. A temple knight would never shirk his duty so. Are you calling me a liar? I saw you fall over on your ass with my own eyes. If not for Sir Eugene's quick response and the bravery of these warriors, we all would be food for the vultures by now. The congregation will hear of this dereliction of duty, you can be sure. Now, hold on just a minute. They aren't the ones to blame. A sacred relic of my people was stolen and... Now isn't the time. Forget I said anything. No, now is exactly the time. Someone has obviously just been affected by the thing that you specifically are looking for. And yet they're getting told off for being a victim. Now is precisely the time to explain. Whatever dizziness overtook the chocobo seems to have passed, so I'll resume my journey once the carriage is repaired. Assuming my guards are quite refreshed, I believe we can make it on our own. Please, return to Camp Dragonhead and warm yourselves. It's no coincidence that the giant birds and the two guards took leave of their senses around the same time. This is the work of the Cradle. But I'm only going to tell you that, so that these two knights still get punished, Because I'm a dick for some reason. But even if Leofine was here, she is no longer. Let's return to the city and consider our next steps. Like, I'd understand if rather than him repeating everything for the sake of the player, it, like, it cut to black and then cut back, like, after the explanation has happened. That would be fine. I could understand that. But the fact that he just goes, oh yeah, that's the... Nah! It's not it. You don't need to know why they fell asleep. They're just lazy. We've received the report of the incident near Camp Dragonhead. 2 of our own, sleeping on duty. The fury. Had you reached them even a moment later, this day would have been much darker. Although it pains me to say it, those 2 should be punished as befits the magnitude of their negligence. If I may, I don't believe the blame rests entirely on their shop. Entirely? At all? They are victims! They didn't choose to go to sleep. They didn't know to be on the lookout for something that's going to immediately put them to sleep. It's not their fault at all. Just like it's not someone's fault if their drink gets spiked without them knowing it and then they pass out. Like, you wouldn't blame them for their drink being spiked. It's essentially the same fucking thing here. I hate Tentooa because he does victim blaming. Fuck him. I hope the narwhal penetrates you. The cradle of the sleepless was used against them, I'm certain. Ah, yes. You said it possessed the power to lull others into a deep sleep. I admit that would explain these exceptional circumstances. Regardless, they were still bested by their enemy, and their charge was almost killed as a result. Punishment is the only recourse. In a world with magic that can put people to... Like, this is the thing as well. You don't need the Cradle of the Sleepless to cast sleep. Anyone that knows magic can cast sleep. Maybe the Cradle of the Restless or the Sleepless or whatever the fuck it's called, maybe it's more powerful and it can get around like resistances and shit like that. Maybe it's just a more severe version of sleep. But there is legitimately a incredibly common sleep spell which has clearly been used, and yet everyone's about wanting to blame the victims that got put to sleep. If they got blinded instead, would you still punish them? If they got poisoned and were on their deathbed, would you still blame them? What the fuck? Hey Geeky, how you doing? I see. A harsh stance maybe, but I can respect that you don't treat your duty lightly. A harsh stance? It's not harsh, it's completely unwarranted. Well, if you learn anything else of Leofine's plots, please let us know at once. Even though we didn't find her, I'm glad we were able to save those soldiers. Thank you for coming to us. Nay, It is the Temple Knights who owe you thanks. We shall continue our search, and rest assured you shall be the first to know of any developments. There's more I would tell you about the Cradle. Things I should have told you sooner. Join me over there and I'll do my best to fix that mistake. But I'm deliberately going to withhold that information from our ally here. Because, again, I'm a bit of a dick. What the fuck is this writing? It doesn't really flow in a way that makes sense. Like, not even from a meta perspective, but legitimately, like, canonically, sleep is an incredibly common spell. Because you learn it at any of the casting guilds. Like, you don't need to be one of the special advanced classes that has a job crystal, because fair enough, job crystals are supposed to be very rare, and people that can actually interact with them to be even rarer. But every conjurer, every black mage, every arcanist knows sleep. There must be thaumaturges in the Knight congregation that can cast sleep. I mean, I knew I was probably not going to enjoy this because of how the other role quests have been and the fact that it's just felt like there's been no actual jeopardy. But this is the first one where it's coming back to the issue that I had with the fucking Hanu quests from the MSQ, where it just feels like the game is deliberately ignoring anything else that has happened throughout the series of expansions and everything else. Although I don't think we've ever seen sleep be used in the story. At least not in the MSQ. But still, like, it... anyone can use it. Now you've seen with your own eyes what I've only been able to describe. The narwhal's lullaby can put even hardened warriors into a restful slumber. They may as well be defenseless as a newborn babe. Even with such power, my people have never used it to attack our enemies. They may as well be defenseless as a newborn babe, but you let them believe that... you let the guys that were actually victims believe that it was their fault and that they were just being negligent in their duties because you didn't explain to them. And you've let the guy that we were just talking to agree to punish those victims for being as defenseless as a newborn babe. Because you know what makes sense? Punishing newborn babes. What the fuck? But even with such power, blah, 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 I'm a cunt. Where does one get one of these horns? You could use a good nap. Its sole purpose has always been to keep a single person awake. An eternal guardian who would never sleep, never rest. The wide eye. Me. Okay, but I thought that the way that you did that was... by making others go to sleep. Have I misunderstood that? I mean, I suppose it wouldn't have to be another person. It could just be any other living creature, but when they described how it worked earlier, it made it sound like you transferred your fatigue to the other person, thereby freeing yourself of fatigue. So you would need to use it in order to get rid of your fatigue. For 10 years I've been awake, training day and night to gain the strength I have now. The strength to shield my people. You must have an amazing short-term memory. And shocking long-term memory. Of course, another must receive the wariness I cast. Okay. So, you do use it on other people? Like, what? I mean, I guess, did he specify offensively? I think he may have specified that they don't do it offensively. But just, oh. We don't use it on other people. But I have to use it on my friend. I've been awake for 10 years. She's been asleep for 10 years. What the fuck? Another must receive the wariness I cast aside. The shut eye. You've met her, in fact. Loazaniqui. As I've been awake these 10 years, she spent the better part of her days in a deep slumber. Her brief periods of wakefulness are spent exercising and eating, so her body doesn't waste away. That feels like the worst, like, just thinking from a logistical perspective, that seems like the worst way to use the narwhal's power. Oh, this one person isn't gonna sleep for 10 years. So we're gonna make this other person sleep for 10 years. When you have an entire village of people that you could set up a rota for. And just be like, oh, okay, it's your turn to sleep this week. It's sleeping. Nothing bad happens. You just lose a day. You lose maybe even just 8 hours. Like, why has it got to be just the one person? So that you're basically forcing them into a coma. Like, so far we haven't seen any of the jeopardy that is actually coming out of this, other than the fact that if someone gets put to sleep in a bad situation, it's bad. But again, you could just cast sleep. You don't need the narwhal's power necessarily. But I know I'm trying to apply logic to a video game. And I know that I shouldn't do that, because that way madness lies. But this is just... That was a choice. That was a choice that they made to describe that this one person has been awake for 10 years. That's fine. That makes sense, given the power that we're dealing with. The fact that someone else has basically been asleep for 10 years, though, that's unnecessary. That's a choice they didn't need to make. You could have said that he put animals to sleep and hunted them in order to feed the village. that would probably also work. We've seen that the fucking ability works on the chocobos. So just... Why do you have to have this one person in basically an induced coma for 10 years? And so, we've barely spoken, despite how much I depend on her. When we were young, we spent our days exploring the mountain paths. That time is long past. Telling you all this now, I realize how very little of my life has been dedicated to my own pursuits. Though as a Nikwi and I both have devoted ourselves entirely to the protection of our village. That explains your skill. How did Leofine steal the artifact from such an accomplished warrior? Don't you miss Loaza Nikwi? No, how did they steal it if you don't sleep? You gave it to her. Well, about that. No, I've no excuse. It was my fault it was stolen, and I'll bear that burden. A protector must take responsibility for his charges. Okay, but that doesn't answer how it happened. We don't have the luxury to dwell on regrets. I see now that although my people never used the cradle for ill, wicked hearts can twist anything toward evil. That's something I can't tolerate. The very thought that this might happen again makes the bile churn in my gullet. We must bring Leofine's schemes to an end. So you've just completely sidestepped the question of how they got the cradle off of a guy who hasn't slept in 10 years. But you've already described that you thought they were a scholar. So it feels like it would be really easy to just connect the dots there and say, I gave it to her to study it, and then she stole it. And that was you being deceived by the deception that you've already told us about in a totally reasonable way. Whereas now you're just having more of the same draconic view that we saw from what's-his-face? Firmalbert, of blaming the victim. You were a victim of deceit. Is this just victim blaming the storyline? Because it really is feeling that way. And it's entirely unnecessary. Just the person I wanted to see. I'd like to ask your advice on a certain matter if you don't mind. It's been a while since my last letter to Loaza Nikwi. I wanted to wait until I discovered something worth sharing to write her, but we're still completely in the dark. I don't want her to worry, but I don't know what to tell her. Whatever you write, don't make her wait too long. You've already put us to sleep for basically 10 years. Good advice, as usual. I wish we had even a single thread to grasp, but an unexciting letter's better than none at all. Alright, I'll start right away. I may not have much time left. Don't misunderstand, it's nothing so grave as that. It's just, the last time I used the cradle was just before it was stolen. Luckily, I'm still as alert as I've ever been, but it won't be long until I must dream like any other. What? You'll have to sleep? Like a normal human being? You're right, that's terrible. How will you go on? That'll give Leofine free rein while I'm helpless in bed. There is no quarry more dangerous than one who doesn't sleep. We have to see this through before that happens. I mean, at the same time, if we don't know where she is, and we don't have any leads to follow, and you're basically standing around waiting for leads, why couldn't you get some rest whilst you do that? Again, that feels unnecessary. Mistress Bun, Master Tentoa, we've received reports that several groups of temple knights have fallen afoul of what can only be your stolen artifact. Several? Let me guess. You're all guarding someone else. You'd be correct. Wait, I think I've just realised Leofine's motivation here. Is she just trying to hurt the congregation's reception? Did I say reception? Reputation is what I meant. Their reputation. Because if she wanted to kill them, you would put them to sleep and then stab them with a fucking dagger whilst they're asleep. Easy. But if she puts all of the knights to sleep whilst they're protecting someone, but doesn't put the person they're protecting to sleep, then their reputation goes down the toilet because they're not protecting their charge, and all that their charge sees is them fall asleep. In which case, again, there's potentially very little jeopardy. Because she's just putting them to sleep. And fair enough, it leaves them undefended in the wilds where there's monsters about, but at the same time, it doesn't guarantee that they're going to get mauled by a bear. Okay. If I have a very strong feeling that's exactly what her motivation is. And it's not great. Like, it's not great for the knights, but at the same time, that is some Dora the Explorer level shit. She could fucking murder them without any risk to herself by putting them to sleep, and instead she's just letting them have a nap to hurt their reputation. Probably. I'm trying to put logic into a series of quests that are progressively worse. Yes, because at least, like, okay, the lack of jeopardy has been a consistent issue, but at least there's been some level of logic of that. You know, okay, the scorpion one produces poisons, and that's bad because you poison people. And their motivation for why they were poisoning people was stupid as fuck. But the fact was that they were maliciously poisoning people. And going to poison an entire water supply for the entire island, yada yada yada. There was the guy trying to cause wars by pretending that he was people and causing fights. There was the guy who was invulnerable that was trying to do something, but I forget what the fuck it was. And then there was the idiot with the fucking rocks, who was, I mean, he was just a dick. But at least there was motivation for each of them that at least kind of made sense. Like the owl one really didn't make sense why the guy went to go and get it. But if we ignore that, the fact that he went to get it kind of made sense because he had that sort of god complex going on. hero complex. Anyway. But, like, this person did something, got excommunicated and exiled. And instead of killing people and being evil, makes them have a nap so that they might die. But, you know, her hands are clean because she didn't kill them. She just put them to sleep. They were having a nice little nap. Hey, Gwyd. You're here to bring the Jeff Putty. To be read like Jeopardy. Okay. It is the duty of a knight to protect those who cannot protect themselves. If we fail at even that most basic function, then our honor means... That one line... The duty of a knight is to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Like how your knights cannot protect themselves against the effect of the relic. But you're still going to blame them as having failed their duty. As if the incident near Camp Dragonhead was not shameful enough. The knights in these most recent attacks were left in quite compromising positions. Oh, for fuck's sake. If it's now going to be not that they were attacked by monsters and nearly died, because then there is some level of jeopardy, but if it's now just going to be that they were, like, posed in awkward positions or stripped and, like, oh, I swear to fucking God. What? It's the frat party relic. It is basically Rohypnol, the relic. Just, oh, for fuck's sake, man. The fact that they're left undefended and potentially vulnerable to attack, like that was a good enough reason. You did, oh. So Leofine is now taking the time to pose her victims. So it isn't even just that it's like a drive-by sort of thing of like, oh, make you go to sleep, now I'm going to fuck off. No, it's the, I'm going to put you to sleep, then I'm going to stand you up and cover you in snow so you're a snowman. Or I'm going to lift these 4 other guys, put them into the fountain, all facing out because I like shapes. This is legitimately annoying me a bit. Because it's just why? These were choices. Someone signed these off. And it's not just a localization thing. Because it can't be. It's the core story. So it isn't just that, oh well, the way that they've decided to say this makes it come across this way. No, it's this is what's happening. It's just fucking stupid. And like, I get that Dawntrail was supposed to be the vacation for the Scions and the Warrior of Light and stuff, and like, I think that's incredibly fucking weak defense for the writing for early Dawntrail. But this isn't. This bit right here, this isn't a vacation. This is someone has taken the fucking amulets from the Jackie Chan cartoon and is going around and deliberately using them maliciously. Especially that they've taken something from Thrall to Eorzea in order to do that thing maliciously. But it's the fact that other than the guy who was trying to cause wars, everything has been like college prank level. Like, okay, yeah, drugging someone is serious as fuck, especially if they're spiked without them knowing it, kind of thing. But like, basically, the narwhal's power is just chloroform or rohypnol. You get put to sleep. The poison stuff was, you know, hallucinogenics and other shit. The rocks falling, that's basically fucking Home Alone style trap bullshit. The pretending that you are other people, that's just spreading rumors. It's like, legitimately, I think you could boil down every one of the role quests, at least so far, to them basically being college level pranks. Like at a dorm. This is the guys over at Kappa Kappa Delta or whatever the fuck going up against the sorority down the street. I didn't expect much. But I did expect, you know, just something that at least felt like we needed to be involved. None of these have felt like we have needed to be involved. Like, these situations would have just resolved themselves without our intervention because they're such low-level shit. The weight of embarrassment is a trifle compared to the guilt we would bear if any innocent came to harm. Okay, that line, yeah. That's an appropriate line. The Fury was merciful in that respect, but we would rather not see these incidents repeat. Still, while the Temple Knights must work to repair their reputation in the days ahead, 'tis a far cry from bringing Ishgard crumbling to its knees. Yep. Truth be told, the methods of this passage of the Unbound leave me mystified. Even the fucking game is acknowledging it! It's almost better if they did role quests and let you play as the scions or others on this journey with you. Yeah, honestly, that you're right. Have me run around with Alphino, playing as Alphino and doing like a little side story as Alphino. Have me running around and doing a set of quests as Thancred and all of that shit. And like, I think the only thing with it is they would need to effectively just glamour you, but not change your hotbars like they do other times when you assume control of another player or another character. If instead they just made it be like, oh, okay, well, you're playing as a gunbreaker now. Here's Thancred with your gunbreaker loadout, or at least the standard loadout for whatever level quest you're on, or have it be that there's different characters. Like if it was Thancred and Magni, someone from Ishgard, and the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight's a bit of a weird one. But like you could have a cat, and then depending on which class you're doing the role quest as, you are glamoured to be that person. That would be so much more of an interesting experience as a player. You could build on characters so it felt like there was an actual incentive to doing the role quests. And at the end of it, you could get a piece of glamour that makes you look more like one of the characters that was involved. That would be so much more interesting at this point. And you could play it off like the way that you get the quest is by interacting with Thancred if you're doing the tank ones. And like it's Thancred telling you about what he's done, but then as he's telling you about it, you're the one living your way through it like a flashback. That would be so much more engaging than this shit. Because like, yeah, you could have like Alphino, Urianger, and I mean, fuck it, it could be Canny Senna as a white mage. Don't know who'd be a scholar. There aren't really any other scholars. The scholar could be the character that gets introduced in the storyline, I guess. But like, that would be the healers. Your magical DPS, you could have Graha Krail, because she's now the Picto. Summoner could be Ystola's sister. Yeah, you're right, Aurelia. There aren't really fizz ranged in the Scions. Yeah, fizz ranged is the where it would really fall down, isn't it? That is a massive gap in composition, thinking about it. There is supporting cast that are ranged. Although the only dancer is in the first, rather than the source. So you'd have to introduce a dancer, but you could then have like Stefanovan from the Sky Steel Manufactory as the machinist, because it would make, you can very easily make it make sense why he would travel around. And then you could have someone from like the God's Bow Quiver or a local hunter even be the bard. Aenor is the only one. Aenor Cockburn's her full name, sister of Clements. Both are Echo Wielders. Who? Who? Are they like from sort of the same sort of level of cast as Hoary Boulder? She is. She's apparently romantically involved with the Boulders. This is an NPC that I legitimately don't recognize. Like Hoary Boulder and even Oka Boulder, I kind of remember. Like Hoary Boulder especially, because he comes up multiple times and we talk with him directly multiple times and all the rest of it. I remember his Ellison mage companion. I remember him. I don't remember his name, but I remember him. Don't remember fucking anyone else. Like, I was thinking more about, like, the God's Bow Quiver. Coulternay. Yeah, that's his conjurer. I think he's a conjurer. Companion. But yeah, I could also see Thancred pivoting to machinist, given that he already uses a gun in the form of a gun blade. It wouldn't be that hard to imagine him just using a gun. Or you could have Merlwyb, although she's a musketeer, not a machinist. To quote Aenor, you should have seen the way my man jumped for joy when he heard about his brother. By the by, you don't happen to know a reputable goldsmith, do you? I'm thinking of commissioning a pair of rings. Christ. Clearly, I've missed some subplots. I mean, I haven't talked to NPCs unless they've had question mark, like MSQ marks or blue marks. So there's probably a lot of side story and world building that I've missed. Well, no, there is a load that I've missed. So I do not remember a throuple involving two brothers. But now that Oka has decided to set off without his dear brother, without the two of them together, I fear I might suffer withdrawal. Christ. Anyway. But Leofine was cunning, if nothing else. Till we can discern her true motivations, we've little recourse but to wait until she makes a mistake. Perhaps she just gets her jolly seeing people humiliated. She may be testing the limit of the artifact's power. If that was the case, why is she specifically targeting the congregation? She's trying to ruin their reputation. If that isn't it. Huh. Many among the knights have suggested the same. Leofine may be part of this esoteric order. She has ever been one to put her own interests first and foremost. The cradle is a tool of peace, yet Leofine uses it for childish pranks? She makes a mockery of its sacred power. We have to get it out of her clutches. So even the game is acknowledging its childish pranks. Who signed this off thinking this was an engaging storyline? You have a rather difficult challenge you're working towards on an alt. Oh. Pray tell, what is that? And to do that, we have to start asking the right questions. This new information makes me wonder. Why has she focused her attention on the Temple Knights? Because she was excommunicated and exiled from the Temple Knights. So she's got a chip on her shoulder. And she wants to get back at them by ruining their reputation. It's such a massive leap of logic. How will the characters get there? So why is she focusing on the Temple Knights? I've pondered the same. Posted at Camp Dragonhead a knight from many houses of repute, including House Fortom. Being a former Temple Knight herself, Leofine doubtless knows their habits and training. Perhaps that makes it easier for her to exploit their weaknesses. Then if we follow the knights, we may pick up a trail. It's not ideal, but it's the best we have to... So their current reasoning is that the reason she's targeting knights is because she knows what the knights will do. That's not a motivation. Well, a large contingent of knights has but recently been dispatched to Kurthus. You remember Gorgani Mills, yes? It has lain abandoned ever since the heretics were driven from it. I have lost so much motivation myself for this, which is why I'm not even making an attempt to read it in a good way, because just, this is dog shit. Yet there is ever the risk that unsavory elements might infest it once again. Thus have the Temple Knights planned joint patrols of its premises with other contingents. If you speak with Sir Redwald at Falcon's Nest, I'm certain he'd be glad to have you along. I can tell that this isn't going to have anywhere near a satisfying conclusion. Is that Mistress Bunn I see? Of course, you're ever welcome in Falcon's Nest. Yet I believe I do not know your companion here. This is the Dawntrail tank role quests, yeah. Indeed, whispers of the Temple Knight's humiliations have reached us even here. Falling asleep while on duty. Dared not believe the stories. It seems there was truth in them after all. They fell asleep, true, but it wasn't their fault. Make up your fucking mind. You're saying it wasn't their fault. You're saying that they are defenseless as babes. But then you have deliberately let them believe that they are at fault by starting to go to explain what happened to them, and then stopping yourself for some unknowable reason, and allowing Thermal whatever the fuck his name was, to punish the knights that were made to fall asleep because they fell asleep for something that, in your own words, wasn't their fault and they were defenseless as babes against. We suspect they fell victim to an enemy wielding a powerful artifact. Now, the rumors failed to mention anything like that. If it can lull even trained warriors to sleep, then we must treat it as a serious threat. Why aren't the knights informing their own contingents? Nevertheless, if one knight falls, another is always at the ready to take their place. So long as this artifact cannot put an entire regiment under its spell, I believe we are well positioned to combat it. Interesting. The idea of your allies falling in battle doesn't seem to disturb you at all. Where I hail from, a single warrior is responsible for the safety of his entire village. Yeah, and then a single person is also responsible for being put in a coma to allow that single warrior to never sleep. Which, there's so many fucking holes in the logic here. There's so many fucking holes. Make no mistake, we do not doubt our allies' mettle, and we mourn every loss, yet each man and woman here knows that if they must quit the battle, another sword just as fierce will take their place. To know that an ally is at your back would allow you to fight with abandon. So you're telling me that the warrior that protects his village, him, has never had any backup? Ever? What happens if he dies? Logistically, what happens if the Wide Eye dies defending the village? Do they have to train a new Wide Eye? In which case, the village is not as well defended during the transitionary period, whilst the new guy gets up to snuff. Talk about putting all your eggs into one fucking basket. Now, you believe this Leofine might take interest in our activities at Gorgani Mills, yes? A party's already left, accompanied by a group of Temple Knights. Accompanied? Who are they accompanying? If your suspicions are correct, then they are at risk. I would ask that you follow in their tracks and ensure that they have not fallen victim to foul play. The mills can be found to the north, just across the Black Iron Bridge. The party should be arriving there soon, conditions permitting. Resurrects Ranjit to replace him. We have to reach them before Leofine does. Like, dude. Ranjit was fun in gameplay, but man, he needed a backstory for how he could actually slow down the Warrior of Light. I don't remember him slowing us down. But I haven't thought about Ranjit in a long time. So, yeah. Doesn't surprise me. Oh, the final solo fight with him in Yulmore. All that's coming to my mind is the fight where you play as Thancred. That apparently made more of an impact. We're too late. They're fast asleep. But Redward gave the impression there were more. These knights must have been the lookouts. We should awaken them, but keep your eyes peeled for Leofine. I'll rouse these ones. You search that building yonder. Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that makes this feel such low stakes. They get put to sleep, but you can just wake them up. There isn't really any level of permanence here. They just get put to sleep. They don't get put into like a fucking Sleeping Beauty style deep sleep that can only be broken by true love's kiss. It's no, you slap them around a bit and they wake up. So why are they abandoning knights like they're already dead when you could just slap them around a bit and then suddenly your fighting company is back up to full strength? Who the hells are you? How'd you get past the guards? Wait. Other people? Thank you for your assistance, Dark Knight. A level 50 something attacking a level 90 something. What the? You've timestamped a YouTube video that has the fight in it. How the fuck? Wait. How did... I didn't do that in Burnbot. I did that in Twitch, and yet then I'm confused how made what? How? I'm confused and scared. That permit. Come on, like that is what I should have done, but I triggered that through Twitch, not. I didn't type that message. I'm confused and scared. Yeah, I remember fighting him in Yulmore. I don't remember where he specifically slows you down. That's the only bit. This is thrilling. To watch my stream whilst I scan through a video. Was it right at the beginning and I missed it? This is the same place that you look for clues for your Ysayle. Yeah, it is. That's why there was a level of 55 here. You normally fight a polar bear down here, I believe. Yeah, I quickly scanned through that and didn't see a point where Ranjit slowed us down. Just the fact that in gameplay he isn't pushed around like generic trash mobs. Yeah. Although there's other like solo instanced fights that have got some weight to them. I will say that Ranjit is probably the first one. But yeah. It's you. Thank the Fury you arrived when you did. Those thugs struck when our backs were turned. I assumed the Temple Knights were protecting the entrance, so I wasn't as cautious as I should have been. Were they killed? No. Which is even weirder now that you've been attacked. Sleeping? I've heard the stories, of course, but I didn't think they were true. Whomever's behind this, I'm sure they didn't count on your showing up. For now, we shall tend to our wounds and then finish our inspection here. I ask that you join the knights outside and wait until we're finished. What is their motivation, then? That they were going to kill the people that the knights were defending, but not kill the knights themselves? What's up? Interesting choice of attire. In, the frozen wastes of Western Kurthus Highlands. Ah, as I thought. Just when I was becoming bored, I sighted a familiar face among these slumbering knights. I simply had to come and make sure it was you. You finally found the courage to show yourself. Hand over the cradle now and I won't kill you. So just to reiterate, this has nothing to do with the cradle. Her doing that jump, that's just her. The cradle doesn't give her any special powers. It just stops her from needing to sleep. What did they call you again? The Wide Eye? You must have had quite the journey to come this far. Been a long time since a female Elazin was a villain, that's true. Be careful, this is our quarry, the thief who stole the cradle of the sleepless. This is Leofine. That is your ally. Their arms hardly look fit to hold a sword. Who's to say they do not seek your artifact for themselves? Bitch, you're from Ishgard and you don't know who I am. It matters not, I suppose. Before you both throw your lives away, I suggest you think for a moment. Is the cause you fight for worth the sacrifice? So few of us know true freedom. Where the fuck are you going with this? If there is aught you would grasp with your own hands, do so before they wither and your eyes shut for the last time. The codes and rules that would bind men are mere illusions. Open your eyes, truly open them, and you shall see a path all your own. Only a fool would waste their life in the struggle of another. She's calling her own henchmen fools. What the fuck are you on about? What has any of that got to do with the fact that you are putting people to sleep? Maybe she was a hermit in the Chocobo Woods and didn't wake up until Needhogg stopped roaring. I mean, I feel like we are one of the most recognizable people in Eorzea at this point. Given that we not only saved Eorzea, we saved Ishgard. And Girabania. And stopped the end of the world. Like, I feel like we'd be pretty recognizable. Quit spouting nonsense. Like, it makes sense that the Terali don't know who we are. Because why would they? Until after we've done the stuff with Wook Lamar and the succession and everything else, and then they know who we are, which is what happened. Like, that makes sense. Her being oblivious to who we are is, again, it's a choice that just means she's a remarkably ill-informed knight. Or former knight. Nonsense, perhaps. I'm here because of another, after all. You literally in your previous text block said how stupid it is to live for another, and now you're talking about how you're only here because of another. Apyahi, who came to me at the height of my debauchery and welcomed me into her devious brotherhood. She guided me to great power, yes, and now I lead others upon the unbound path. Again, you just talked about how you shouldn't live your life in accordance to another, and yet you're making others live their life in accordance to you. You came up with your own backstory for her. It's probably better. You think the idea is that loyalty is worthless to competition. But that's not... She's... It's obvious that she actually means, like, Ishgard. And the knights, not just anything. But the way that she's saying it is like it's just anything. Even though that's perpendicular to her own actions. She immediately contradicts herself. Rules and codes equals loyalty and the like, but for her the idea of a free-for-all world like Xenos' philosophy. Yeah. But the fact that she has... if she was working alone, no problem with that. The fact that she has henchmen who she must command, thereby meaning that she's setting rules and codes. Like, immediately contradicts what she's saying. And if this is supposed to be her motivation and her paradigm that she is trying to instill upon the world, that's weak as shit. And again, why aren't these guys dead? From the way she speaks, she had Louis Soir of her own in her Thancred stealing from him days, and gave her a sense of searching for power to not be a petty mugger. I mean, maybe, yeah, maybe she got taken on similar to Thancred, but, like, that still immediately contradicts her previous point of not being beholden to anyone. Like, legitimately, from one text block to the next, it immediately contradicts something that she just said. Like, yeah, I do derive great pleasure in shaming the Temple Knights, in seeing the snickers and jeers deflate their pompous stride as they walk down the streets. If this artifact can hasten their fall from grace, I believe I shall keep it. Eh? I know the path I walk, the one that leads to your downfall. Why has he just gone Super Saiyan? And I won't abandon it. I'll take the cradle back. And then I'll... Really? Oh dear, you seem to have lost your train of thought. I know you cannot hear me, but if you want your artifact back, I might suggest stealing it from me while I'm asleep. But considering the burden I've just passed to you, that opportunity may not come for some time yet. I know you cannot hear me, but let me explain some stuff. Let me talk to you like you can hear me. She's purely saying that for her benefit. Like, again, immediately contradicting herself. Why, I feel absolutely transcendent to think the shackles of fatigue weighed so heavy. You've used the thing multiple times. Fair enough, you haven't used it on him before. And he's still empowered by having used it before. Like, but... why was her using it on him more significant than any of the other times that she's used it when he hasn't been able to use it in ages anyway? And the only reason he would have been empowered from it would be that he's used it on the shut eye, but the shut eye isn't asleep, so that must mean that it's been a while. Like, just... Power Ranger logic. Alas, it appears the artifact needs its own repose of sorts. No matter, I've learned more than enough to take my first step. So there's a cooldown on the artifact, yet we've seen that she's been able to use it multiple times previously, because how else has she put multiple people to sleep? See to it that this lot is disposed of. 'Tis the least you can do for the freedom that I have given you by making you work for me. How have you given them freedom? Literally, just it fucking constantly contradicts itself. Jesus Christ. I do think that this is the worst. The worst writing out of the role quests so far. Not necessarily in the game itself, but of this set of role quests, I think this is the worst one. Try as you might to rouse Tentoa, he seems completely detached from the waking world. Okay, so are they now going to try and say that they did something different to him than they did to everyone else? You think it's trying real hard to be worse than the Paladin storyline? I don't really remember the Paladin storyline that well. I do remember it wasn't great, but I don't remember it. But at least characters had motivations. And at least there was a logic. Because it was that there was the one guy had to basically exile himself in order to try and protect Uldar or some shit, wasn't it? I feel like that was what was going on. Which, you know, it's bad logic, but it's logic. Whereas there isn't any logic here. It looks like you've saved us twice today. Thank you. And there's inconsistent logic that is being applied. But what of him? Fast asleep, just as we were. Could it be what Sir Firmalbert warned us of in his report? So you got informed of it. But Sir Redwald, who's charged with protecting all of Falcon's Nest, wasn't. Again, inconsistent logic. And he's fast asleep just as you were, but we woke you up. I see. Then those stories are more than just wicked rumors. I suppose there's some small comfort in the fact that our enemy tipped their hand without causing loss of life. Yeah, that also doesn't make any fucking sense. That they put you to sleep to attack someone else, to then have someone else come and attack you, by which point you were no longer asleep. Why do it like that? Put one to sleep. Put someone to sleep. Stab them. They're dead. Move on to the next one. Put them to sleep. Stab them. They're dead. Put a group to sleep. Go round one by one. Stab. 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 They're all dead. No risk to myself, they were all asleep. It doesn't make sense to put some people to sleep, go and attack the people who aren't asleep but don't know that the other ones are asleep. Like, this wasn't crowd control. where you put some people to sleep so that you then were fighting less people. It was, I'm going to non-lethally incapacitate these people to then attempt to lethally incapacitate these other people, and then I will circle back around and finish the job on the ones that I non-lethally incapacitated. Like, who does it like that? While the drowsiness made my eyes heavy, my ears could not mistake Leofine's arrogant voice. If she would not scruple to attack former comrades in arms, then she has fallen farther than you had dared imagine. You think this is a case of black rosism? We have a power threat so massive in consequences, so let's write ourselves out of it. I'd say that applies more to the Scorpion one that made all the poisons, and that's why they had to write it so that the woman doing the poisoning wasn't actually trying to, like, directly kill anyone. She was just a freak that got off on Schadenfreude, but didn't really do anything too massively harmful. But she could have. Whereas in this, it's like, unless she could put people to sleep and they don't wake up, that then becomes like Black Rose significance of, okay, there's this magically induced sleep that we can't dispel, we can't rouse them. These people, if we don't do something, will just die, no matter what. Whereas at the moment, it's just, you're sleepy. Doesn't matter that you're in the middle of a snowfield with monsters around you. You're sleepy. Monsters might kill you now. I'll be back in 20 minutes to finish you off if the monsters don't kill you first. Because I've decided that those guys who aren't asleep are more important right now. For reasons. But unless they introduce right now that what they've done to the new story NPC that they've added who we accept all of our quests from, which, let's face it, they're not going to do, unless they made it so that he was now in just a coma until we defeat Leofine, this still feels like something that always, like, it's the same level of jeopardy as what was happening with the Scorpion that was producing poison. All you need is an Asuna, which any conjurer can do. That's not a white mage. That's not an astrologian, even though astrologians can also... there's other astrologians about. You don't have to be a scholar. You don't have to be you don't have to be like these special, rare things that wouldn't be around. You just need to be a healer who is magically inclined. Fuck it. You could probably even be an alchemist. Yeah, a simple chirurgeon, exactly, could probably dispel this sleep. Because that's all it took for the poisons. Any chirurgeon. We didn't need to be involved. Even a chef. Yeah. A culinarian. If they knew, if they just, an alchemist or a culinarian producing the right things would have been fine. Just change the alchemist's hat, make them a chemist. There you go. No sleep. No poison. No hallucinogenics. You're good. It doesn't need to be the person that stopped the literal end of the world by traveling to the far end of the universe. Is whiskey alchemy or cooking? Closer to alchemy. Because distillation is an alchemical process. Fermentation, so making an alcoholic beverage, that isn't necessarily alchemy. Like, making kimchi is definitely cooking. Making beer could potentially be considered cooking or a culinary process, but as soon as you get to making spirits where you have to go through a distillation process, it's more like alchemy. Because whiskey isn't... Yeah. Mead, wine would be culinary, but liquor, where there's that extra it's that refinement stage of it through the distillation that makes it alchemy. Because if you were to distill whiskey further, you would get neutral spirit, which could be like rubbing alcohol and shit like that. And that would definitely be an alchemical reagent in having basically Everclear. Whereas beer, you're producing it specifically to drink, and that's the only outcome that you're going to get out of it, is something that you can consume. Whereas the process in refining something into a spirit could, just by how much you do it, by doing it less, it's a culinary product. By doing it more, it's an alchemical product. It's like, even in the real world, distillation is like culinary science. Whereas fermentation, I mean, technically it's still culinary science, but like, if I wanted to, I could go and start a fermentation in my kitchen right now. Sometimes I create fermentations in my kitchen when I don't mean to. But I have never accidentally produced a spirit. I would struggle to go and make a spirit in my kitchen. Could I do it? Yes. If I got some equipment and deliberately went about doing it, you can do it. It's not necessarily smart, because you're basically going to be producing moonshine. And, you know, moonshiners have historically had a lot of issues with that process. Yeah, exactly. Mead, beer, and things is basically you mix some stuff together and you leave it. And we've refined that process to do it en masse and to get more consistent results. But at its core is you mix some stuff together and you leave it. Whereas to get a spirit, you have to actively do stuff to it afterwards. I've really went off on a tangent there, because it's not often that I get to think with my science brain. It's very rare that I think about anything to do with my degree. Your dad makes rubbing alcohol and calls it booze with flavorings. Like, I understand the cultural significance of moonshine. I understand the market for moonshine. But there's a lot of times where, like now, moonshine is made to be palatable. But, like, yeah, 70 proof... Well, no, 70 proof is 35%, isn't it? Because half proof is ABV. So 35 ABV is about on par with any other spirit. Moonshine, modern moonshine, or at least commercial moonshine, is very much so like the breeding hotter chili peppers culture. Yeah. But moonshine sprung about from the Prohibition, didn't it? Similar to like bathtub gin. It was just the more rural areas that had access to corn and things like that. They were able to produce spirits more easily than someone in an urban area. But in urban areas, you had people that were like producing their own wines and their own beers and stuff like that. Little earlier than Prohibition, Appalachian Mountain roughnecking. Okay. It was the Prohibition that outlawed it, I think, then, wasn't it? That sort of drove it into being the illegal process. Whereas now, I think it's still illegal to do producing moonshine in the mountains, as opposed to in like a proper facility. I think producing it in a facility is legal, like any, but you'd have to go through the same like FDA stuff. It's illegal to sell any alcohol without a license. Oh, I'm aware. I am a personal license holder, which means that I am legally authorized to sell alcohol. But like that, that's just producing. That's just the sale of it, and that's not the production of it. My degree is biochemistry. Yeah. Big nerd. Anyway, we should try and get through this. I'm so thoroughly invested in this story. Damn. Yet we bear the blame for allowing her to get the upper hand, and in so doing put innocent lives in danger. Another black mark on her order. Again with the victim blaming. Fuck you. I don't give a shit. What level is I think we're on like the level 94 or 96 quest. We're still only like halfway. It was only thanks to you and your companion's efforts that the snow was not stained red this day. At the very least, allow us to carry him to the congregation. Well, I still fought some people, and presumably stained the snow red with their blood. We're just gonna dehumanize them because they're villains. Our work here is done, so we shall accompany them as far as Falcon's Nest. Pray, return to Ishgard and look after your friend. What level? This was the level 94 quest. Okay, I can't go on any more tangents, because I've been streaming for 3.5 hours, and we've done 3 quests. Yeah, I'm definitely editing this. Please don't. I need you. Oh yeah, you. Let's face it, they're not saying anything important. There's just another matter to discuss. Just before your departure to Gorgane Mills, it seems there was another incident. A group of criminals were released from their cells. The guards found in a deep sleep. Okay, does that explain? Oh, okay, that's what she meant by freedom. She freed them from prison. And doubtless the ruffians you clashed with were the self-same criminals. Leah finds gathering those who bear a grudge against the Temple Knights to her side and using their animosity to her advantage. We now know for certain that Leofine is the mastermind of these attacks, and that her aim is to chip away at the very foundation of the Temple Knights. Our honor. When I shared these revelations with my superiors, 'twas decided that none would speak publicly of the artifact and its powers, because what's the worst thing that you can do is inform people of the dangers that they may face. Fucking idiots. The Passage of the Unbound seeks to overthrow the nations of the world. One obvious method to achieve this goal would be to stoke the flames of unrest among the common folk, thus sinking Ishgard into a mire of chaos and distrust, not unlike the blasphemies of the final days. So long as these failures are placed squarely on the shoulders of the Temple Knights, we can avoid fomenting a more abiding mistrust in the nation's very core. For Ishgard's peace, I would gladly suffer any disgrace. But you are Ishgard's military. People don't trust the military. They don't trust the country. Okay. Odd, but okay. The question remains as to whether we can apprehend Leofine before she tears our reputation to tatters. While Master Tentoa slumbers, it should falls to us to search for clues that might point toward her whereabouts. Right. You're a fucking idiot. Tell the people. When has deliberately hiding information from the masses ever ended well for governments and militaries? Because when it comes out, it's always bad. Okay, so you need 6 tools windows. Understood. I thought that you were only like a week or 2 away from being able to get these yourself. Not that I mind getting them for you, but just... You thought so too. Okay. Uno, dos, tres, wrong thing. Cuatro, cinco, seis. Is the Doman Enclave my home? Not so much. Although Shirogane is. Oh, there's a tree. There you go. You can also have a fighting ring and a leg of prosciutto. You're welcome. You know what your headcanon Warrior of Light's home is? Don't know. Where? Such devastation place. Castrum Meridianum. But specifically Yeah, so the Praetorium is within Castrum Meridianum. Like, the Praetorium is the main castle within Castrum Meridianum. You broke it, you bought it. Fair. Technically, La Habrea broke it over your body, but you figure you get it as a cost. Leofine remains as elusive as ever. If she is in league with Ishgard's more unsavory elements, something that doesn't really matter. We have only her cryptic statements to guide us. It seems that whatever her plan is, her actions thus far have been but a prelude to its climax. Those pokes were to prod me to carry on. Thank you. Otherwise, it looks like we may have started this 24-hour stream early, huh? We can but hope that Tentoa awakens before she emerges again. There you are. What the fuck? Oh, is he in a coma and now you're the one coming with us? I'm so glad I found you. I was starting to think I was in the wrong city, but the narwhal guided me true. Narwhals, living in the ocean. Oh, you must be the maiden Tentoa mentioned. You hail from the same village, yes? I am Thermalder of the Temple Knights. 'Tis an honor to meet you. Tentoa wrote about you in his letters. I am Loazaniqui, and the honor is all mine. Is Tentoa with you? I haven't received a letter from him for some time, so I came here to check on him myself. He's in a coma. He got pinpricked by a loom or a spinning wheel, and he hasn't woken up. It's been 17 years. You insufferable fool! What have I told you about rushing ahead without thinking? Now you even have the gall to be sleeping when I arrive? You promised you'd write to me. What was I supposed to do when the letters stopped coming? I was so worried. At least I can take some small comfort that he appears otherwise unharmed. I take it you're to thank for that. He told me you were the Shut Eye. They call me the Red Eye. Yes, that's right. For 10 years I bore his fatigue, and as a result, my body is more fragile than most. But since arriving in Tuliolal, my life has become normal. As I've walked the city streets and eaten my fill of its food, I've felt my strength grow. I can even stay awake for a full day now. Do you know why Tenetawa sleeps so soundly? The reports of other incidents indicated that those affected awoke in a matter of moments, yet Tenetawa shows no signs of stirring. Okay, so they have done something different to him, which would explain why she got more powerful after doing it to him. But why was it any different when she did it to him hasn't been explained yet. Well, that I'm sorry, I can't say for certain. Every time he's used it on me, I've fallen a fucking sleep, so I don't tend to remember a lot. But I do know the stories of those who came before me. More than one shut eye has fallen into a sleep much like this, one so absolute that they become deaf to the outside world. With no means to sustain their bodies, they would waste away if left alone. So our people found a mixture of herbs and other materials that help usher the shut eye back to the waking world. We call it cocaine. What could possibly be strong enough to bring someone back from this? We call it spring dew, and the secrets of its making are passed down through generations. Each drop acts as a ray of sunshine in the darkness of sleep, A beacon for the dreamer to follow. We have come back to moonshine. It all comes full circle. They just call it sunshine instead of moonshine. It's either that or we need to give him Mountain Dew, Baja Blast, and he'll wake up. I carry some of the ingredients on my person because I'm a Mary Sue, but others must be gathered. It won't be an easy task, but I'm certain it will save Tennotawa. Don't know their Eorzean name, but one of the flowers blooms a striking yellow and grows only where mountain peaks soar above the clouds. Being so close to the heavens, it drinks in the sunlight, and its petals cleanse the body and promote wakefulness. In the churning mists blooms a yellow flower called the dandelion. What a mystical fucking herb. In no other place in Eorzea can one be closer to touching the sun. Good. Next, we'll need the saliva of a beast we call Morbles, and the thicker it is, the better. The pungent odour could wake the dead. Ah, I know them well. Morbles are not an uncommon sight in the Dravanian hinterlands. A mature specimen should possess saliva with the desired effect. The prospect of gathering it, however, is an unenviable task. Once we have those two ingredients, mixing them with the rest should be a simple matter. Do you think you could procure them? You need a dandelion and some Morble spit. Your confidence is reassuring. Since the Morble saliva must be the fresher of the two, I ask you first climb into the heavens and pick dandelions for Tennotawa. Tennowa. I've been standing for an hour. Apparently. That's how long of a tangent that all was. Yeah, I definitely need to edit this before it goes on YouTube. Just because I don't think it's the same watching a guy have a discussion with someone for that level in chat on YouTube after the fact as it is necessarily live. And I don't know how entertaining it was for anyone not directly involved live. Ah yes, the sun-drenched dandelion in the umbral static. That'll definitely work. Thrill's parting gift. Oh, he's probably still around. Says he's still in chat. He lurks. Hey, baby. You okay? You want me to go to bed, don't you? Yeah, told you. He's still here. We're just talking about you, baby. Don't worry. Go back to playing Dota. You will. What's up? Great putrid Morble. Sounds delicious. Badly. Yeah, I went through a little period of playing Dota. Some of my most toxic gaming experiences are on Dota. Which is part of why I don't play Dota. How? Is it up? Where is she? You had 6 years of League. It changes you. Yeah. I don't play League. I don't play any MOBA. I played Smite for a little bit, which didn't feel as toxic. Yeah, that was the biggest thing, I think, with Dota, was it felt like if you were trying to learn anything, like, it was very not accessible to new people without getting toxic. I think maybe League isn't quite as bad because of its ranking matchmaking is potentially a little bit more beginner friendly, but I don't know. I haven't actually played it in order to comment. Smite just feels more forgiving. Or at least it did when I played it, but I've not played it in years. I'm ready to start mixing the ingredients at once. That is, of course, assuming you've brought them. Nah. Just went and had a wank in a bush and came back. What is it, baby? Huh? There you go. There you go. Is this what you wanted? The baby. This is the kind of tangent that we like, because when I show my pussy on stream, I get more viewers. Oh dear. Dota is military boot camp. You're hated from the start until you fall in line. League's the reverse. It feels fun to play at first, and then it gets more toxic after, and you start to feel your soul leave. That sounds about right. Your claws are very sharp, baby. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah. There you go. Look at the camera. Show me your gorgeous eyes, because otherwise you're just a void. These are difficult to acquire at the best of times, so I thank you for gathering them so quickly. I shall get started immediately. We've done all we can. Now we wait for Tentoa to open his eyes. Dota is a service, not a game. Miss one blink dagger and your whole game's over. Where you going, baby? Huh? Where am I? You're dead, Jim. You are clawing my arm right now because you're slipping, because you don't want to just stand or sit. No. Oh! That's a claw right into my leg. Oof. Thank you for that. I hope you enjoyed sleeping the days away, Tentoa. And I'm glad you're finally awake. Loazaniqui, what are you doing here? I see. So Leofine wielded the cradle against me, and while I was tucked soundly in bed, Loazaniqui came all this way. Curse my weakness. Just when we had her, just when I was needed the most, I failed. For 10 years I endured countless trials, and when the time came, I couldn't even swing my damn weapon. It's not your fault, Tentora. If anyone's to blame for what's happened, it's me. No, I won't hear it. As you may know, Leofine won our trust by posing as a scholar travelling the width and breadth of Toral. She expressed great interest in the cradle and our customs. I was so excited to meet an outsider that I answered her every question. I told her that the Wide Eye keeps the cradle with them at all times. And then she hatched her plan. She took me hostage to draw out Tentora. That's why you interject, Tentora. Bad tank. Yeah, he's not a great... Well, he's probably not a paladin. He's just a gladiator. I mean, he'd still have interject, but... While Loazanikwe was sleeping, Leofine snuck into her chamber and held a blade to her throat. I had no choice but to give her what she wanted, the cradle of the sleepless. I put Loazanikwe's life before the future of our people, and it was at that moment I became unfit to be their guardian, because you chose to protect one of them. She is one of your people. You chose to protect one of your people. You fulfilled your obligation. Oh. Well, yeah. Loazanikwe is one of your people. Protecting her was your duty. Oh, you don't want head scratches? No? Yeah, you do. Thank you. You know just what to say. That was the only way to see a future when none of my people came to harm. Especially Loazanikwe. Even without the cradle, you're still our guardian. My guardian. We'll find a way through this together. Seeing you in such high spirits lifts my own. And before I forget, you trounced Leofine's thugs while I was dreaming in the snow, didn't you? I owe you a debt I won't soon forget. And I wager that debt will grow larger before we pry the treasure from Leofine's clutches. But whatever it takes, I won't stop until she's answered for her crimes. Shak Tarali names just hurt your eyes. Yeah. A lot of Tarali names have fucked me up. I won't lie. Loazanikwe, I only know how to pronounce it because of Nanikwe, is it? Who, the custom delivery person who I don't have yet. You know, while I was sleeping, I dreamed. I saw Loazanikwe and I as children. Nothing particularly interesting happened. We just whiled the days away, without a care in the world. We played doctor. And no. No, I can't. I'd forgotten what it was like to dream. It was pleasant. And then I imagined us playing doctor, and I woke up and everything was sticky. I can remember wanting to stay there, to never open my eyes again. But of course, the moment I gave form to that thought, I nutted. I opened them, and Loazanikwe was there. Even if we get the cradle back, will things return to the way they were? Will you go back to spending your life in dreams? I suppose so. It's my duty as the Shut-Eye, after all. Despite how fucking idiotic having one person be the shut-eye is. Your duty, and it was your duty too that compelled you to come all the way here to Ishgard. But no more. What are you saying? I tried so hard to convince myself that you were glad spending so much time asleep, but being on the other side made me realize I was lying to myself all along. I don't want to return to a life where you and I are bound together, but always so far apart. I want to go back to those happy days when we were by each other's side. I want to be able to be inside you without it feeling like somnophilia. I guess what I'm saying is, if there's a different path for us, I want to find it, and I want to walk it with you. It reminds you of My Little Pony, Princess Celestia and Luna. If you say so. No frame of reference. I know Applejack is a pony. Because my name's Jack. So of course that's the one I remember. Don't remember any of the other ones. But not yet. First we reclaim the cradle. And when we have, we'll take our first steps towards the new future. I promise. I must confess, I haven't felt the same since I woke up. I know I was in that bed for a while, but instead of feeling refreshed, my body feels weaker somehow. It's almost as if my very strength was sapped when the treasure was turned on me. I can't even grip my weapon properly. One had to put away the sun and bring the night, the other brought the sun. The Nightbringer was feared and later hated. Right. But that affects other people. So it's scope is a bit different. Perhaps the cradle's been sapping the ether of its target all along. Leofine did remark that she felt invigorated. Maybe she took your vitality for herself. Oh wow, look what happens when we communicate. We work shit out. Then does that mean the cradle has powers we don't know about? Shock horror. Not exactly. It may just mean the cradle works differently than we thought. Which is the same thing. Its wielder might not pass on their fatigue, rather they absorb another's vigor. The end effect would be the same. The cradle's wielder can go on without sleep, and its victim loses the strength to even keep their eyes open. You never took more than you needed, so my slumber was always light enough to awaken from, if the treasure was used without restraint. If we've had this realization, it won't be long until Leofine does too, and then it will be too late. We have to root her out. But I mustn't rush ahead blindly. As Loazaniqui never tires of telling me, I feel nearly as weak as a child right now. I must spend what precious time we have training to regain what strength Leofine stole from me. You have my word, I won't rest until I'm in top form again. I suggest you do the same, if for no other reason than to give me some stiff competition. Okay, but we don't have any way to counteract. We don't have any way to counteract it. So you could just get put back to sleep immediately. You're looking strong. Well, I'm not my old self yet. I'm feeling better by the day. Still, there's much work to be done. I need to be even better than I was before I were to have any hope of catching Leofine. I wonder what she's plotting with the rest of her cohorts. We know they aim to topple nations around the world, but this is an odd way to go about it, don't you think? No, there was one. There was one guy trying to topple... Well, okay, no, I guess... There was one guy trying to cause war. There was one guy who wanted to become king, but didn't fucking do anything to earn it. I forget what the guy with the armadillo power wanted. I think he wanted to become king through domination as well. There wasn't, like... It feels like they didn't all have the aim to topple nations. They would... That feels like an exaggeration a bit. Why haven't her misdeeds in Ishgard extended any further than the Temple Knights? Because she has a grudge. We pondered the same question. Our best guess was that as a former Temple Knight herself, she chose them because she knows how to exploit their weaknesses. No, because she was exiled, she has a chip on her shoulder. But, in the sake of Dora the Explorer bullshit, you don't know. She's using her knowledge as her weapon, and we need to equip ourselves likewise. If we can learn more about her, we might be able to anticipate the next move. A good plan, but I admit I have no idea where to start. Should we ask Firmalbert? I already have. He said that while he never knew her personally, the knights in her old squadron might be able to shed light into her past. Some of them even now patrol the city, and Firmalbert was a great help in telling me where they might be. You've been busy, lo hasn't it, Qui? Well, I can't remember the last time I was awake this long. I didn't want to sit around until I got tired again. And we're all better for it. Since you've gathered the information, it's only fitting I should do the legwork. Just tell me where these knights are and I'll speak with them. Gladly. But Ishgard's still an unfamiliar city for both of us, right? Although Firmalbert told me where to go, the names of these places mean nothing to me. Luckily, we have After to guide you. You'll go with Tentoa, won't you? Having done the Dark questline, the Ishgardian Knights can be dunces. Oh yeah. I knew we could count on you. Alright, take note of these locations. Behind the sex shop. Being forced to work with someone like Leofine isn't a fate I would envy. I'm curious to hear what these knights have to say about her. Hopefully they provide insight that'll help guide us forward. Time is of the essence. Let's get moving. Must be up. Now this is a rare privilege. What business could the saviour of Ishgard have with a humble knight? Good night from you and Gwyd. Good night. He's got work in the AMs, gonna watch an episode of Elementary in bed. Fair enough. Hope that you both sleep well. I need to finish up soon so that I can go to bed, so that I am rested for the 24-hour stream tomorrow. You want to know about Leofine? Well, many Temple Knights come from common stock, but she was different. Despite what she became, Leofine was born of noble blood. Even so, she often made mock of Ishgard's customs and the responsibilities that bound the conduct of noble families. Doubtless she yearned for freedom all her life, or her idea of it anyway. Although her deeds caused her to be expelled from the Temple Knights and summarily stripped of her title, she may have actually desired that outcome. Yeah, but what the fuck did she do? If she hated it so much here, all she had to do was leave. I hear she did leave, for a time at least. Now she's in league with a group that aims to plunge the world into chaos. If a selfish heart like Leofine sought out aid in this plot, I shudder to imagine how wicked their leader must be. I don't know. They all kind of seemed like fucking idiots, to be fair. Yay. Aww. You require aid. I must keep watch, so forgive me if I don't engage in idle chit-chat. Leofine. For her, I can spare a moment. I don't suppose you know why she was expelled from the Temple Knights, do you? Fucking tell me. While few were her equal in swordplay, and fewer still handled their mounts with such grace, she oft spent her nights carousing in the gambling halls. It was after just such a night that she fell asleep while on duty. Some may call it a cruel twist of fate, but dragons attacked her charges as she slept, and they were left defenseless. In her negligence, she was deemed to have aided our ancestral foe, and thus was stripped of her knighthood and noble title both. Knights falling asleep on duty, a story that's become all too familiar. Given what happened, I've no doubt she came to fear sleep, yet now she's conquered that weakness, and she wields it as a weapon against us. She may even believe herself to be beyond the reach of mortal danger, yet she's only deluding herself, and in time she'll be made to answer for her deeds. Okay, so at least now it makes sense why she specifically wanted the thing that stops her from sleeping. And that also will explain why she was targeting knights and making them fall asleep without necessarily killing them. I've heard that the people of Ishgard revere a warrior god, but here is a statue of a flesh and blood knight. I've never seen such a thing. My people make no figures or depictions of our departed, fearing that such objects would keep them from finding their way to the next world. The only idol we keep is the cradle of the sleepless, and thanks to its blessings, a wide eye has always watched over us. So our reverence is devoted solely to the narwhal. It's enough that it guides our people safely to the next sunrise. All's quiet. Even so, must remain vigilant. Leofine, a name spoken of in hushed whispers now. Many have forgotten her strategic genius. She had a singular talent for achieving victory in battle by whatever means necessary. Genius? Maybe we're just too dense to see how her actions would cause Ishgard to collapse. Given that her group seems relatively few in number, an assault on Ishgard's unlikely. Rather, I think her aim is to chip away at the people's trust in Ishgard's foundation, and by the absence of a few vital bricks, bring the whole nation tumbling down. The thought gives me worry. Even now, representatives from Ishgard are preparing to visit Oxundu in the Sea of Clouds. If anything were to go wrong, it would be a grievous blow to Ishgard's reputation. As we saw at Falcon's Nest, certain elements that oppose our nation see friendly gestures as a chance to spark conflict. Given recent developments, Sir Hondalup has been debating whether the visit is a wise choice. Well, we have a general understanding of what drives our adversary. Stories that paint a picture of a rotten, conniving soul. Must have been hard on the Lord Commander. Lord Commander? I take it that's the leader of these Temple Knights? While fancy titles hold little interest to me, I sympathise with anyone who had to give orders to a rotten apple like Leofine. Given the Temple Knights are warnings, the least we can do. It's clear this delegation, was it, might prove an enticing target for Leofine. Finally, we have knowledge to use against our enemy. If we all work together, we might be able to trap her. We haven't much time. Let's return to the congregation and tell this Hondalup what we know. "28-minute match. You killed no one, yet you died a lot." Yep, that sounds like Dota. Clearly, you have some very strong opinions about Moffat. I don't really watch TV, so. You're ever welcome at the congregation. I'm well apprised of Leofine's wicked deeds, and your efforts to flush her out have been much appreciated. And this must be Master Tentoa, who crossed the ocean from Toral. I hope you've recovered from your ordeal. I'm better than ever. Apologies for taking up one of your beds for so long. Please, no apologies are necessary. On the contrary, the Temple Knights yet owe you a debt for all you've done. Which brings us to the purpose of this visit. You had something to discuss with me? I see you and I had the same doubts. The delegation to Oxundu would be an obvious target for Leofine. I was but recently debating the wisdom of moving forward with our plans. As you know, all of Ishgard falls under the protection of the Temple Knights. As such, 'tis only meet that we maintain and strengthen friendly relations with our neighbours. The delegation in question's tasked with deepening mutual understanding of each of our unique cultures. Sonu Vanu, chief of the Zundu, was most eager to host. Yet so long as the spectre of Leofine hangs over our order, I fear visits abroad are unwise. Should any of the Vanu Vanu come to harm, our relations could be damaged irreparably. As we have no way of knowing if Leofine has caught wind of our plans, I am of the mind that postponing the delegation may be the most prudent course of action. The safety of all. This could also be the perfect chance to draw her out. That's right. After and I won't let anyone come to harm. And as long as you warn the Vanu Vanu in advance, they shouldn't hold the actions of a rogue against you. If they're truly your allies, they'll see the wisdom in your judgment. Please send the delegation as planned. It'll be our best chance to capture Leofine. Yes, your words have merits. Thank you for your sage counsel. You are right. The Zundu would not stand idly by while we suffer at Leofine's hands. In fact, the fellowship between our two peoples was forged when a goddess sailed their home and was brought low by a great hero. After. If we tell the Zundu that she's keeping watch over the proceedings, then I am certain all doubts shall be quelled. Then you'll proceed. Indeed, the time has come for we Temple Knights to reclaim our honour and go on the counter-offensive. I shall bring this suggestion of a joint operation against Leofine to the Lord Commander as soon as possible. Thank you. Together we'll put a stop to her scheme. I first must discuss matters with the others involved before we present a plan to the Lord Commander, although time is of the essence, I ask you wait a while until our course is settled. Okay. So we're about to go into the final quest, thankfully. I realize now that I agreed to defend a people I know next to nothing about. Tell me if these Zundu will soon be visiting. They look like large, fluffy birds. No, they're like the Hanu Hanu, with more of a penchant for metaphor. Really? Two groups of such people so far apart? The world really is full of surprises. You're a Hyur. We have those here too. Even a single city's enough for a lifetime. Every day I hear something that gives me food for thought. Like the story of the Dragonsong War, for instance. Generations of animosity between dragon and man that somehow ended in a rekindled fellowship. I imagined a whole world like that. A world where there'd be no need for protectors. The wide eye watches not only the monsters in the wilderness, but our neighbours as well. We've barely even considered sending delegations outside our village gates. And the cold snap only made things worse. With everyone struggling just to survive, our every thought goes towards defending our scarce resources. But if we only look outward with wariness, there's no hope for the future to change. No hope to build trust. If only there was a way to bridge the distance between us and greet tomorrow hand in hand. But maybe that's just a silly dream. Maybe. Either way, it's a beautiful thought. I'm glad you think so. I'll hold the future in my mind as I get back to training. As for you, get some rest. If you fall asleep when I need you most, I'll wake you up with a knock to the head. Here we go, finally. So, Sir Handloop still hasn't sent word. I guess the others might not be so enthusiastic about our plan. To them, the Cradle of the Sleepless is naturally still something to be feared. No matter how much faith they have in your strength, you'd be at Leofine's mercy if she put you to sleep. Honestly, I don't blame them. Not even I imagined our treasure could be used for such evil. In Leofine's hands, it's no more than an indiscriminate weapon. But that means when we get it back, we can turn it into something else. Something no one's ever thought of before. We can find a way to use it without forcing someone to spend their life in slumber. Of course, I agree with you, Tentoa, but we have much more pressing matters, namely a rogue knight to capture and a treasure to recover. Right, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Apologies for keeping you waiting so long. The Temple Knights have finally reached a decision concerning the delegation to the Sea of Clouds. And what have you decided? I am pleased to say the Zundu have agreed to join forces with us. Together we shall drive back Leofine should she attack. If her shadow darkens even an ilm of their homeland, our peaceful delegation shall turn into a fighting force at a moment's notice. We shall restore the Temple Knight's reputation and recover your artifact in one fell swoop. Thank you, Hanlu. We promise to do our part if Leofine shows herself. She won't get away this time. We have but to hammer out the finer details. Once we are ready to depart, the first group of knights shall leave by airship. I would ask you both to make your way to Okzundu as soon as possible so that you may help plan our strategy. I'm coming too. I can heal your wounds, and if it comes to it, my staff can bruise as well as a club. So she's a white mage? I'm glad to have you with us. I'm done taking on the world alone. I need you, Loazanukwi. And after too, we're stronger together than we could ever be apart. The cradle never would have been stolen if I'd realized that from the beginning. And I want you by my side to ensure I don't forget it. Well then, we'd better be off. I'm keen to meet this Chief Sonu Vanu. Hey, Sonuvanu. It's been a while. How you been? Honored Netherling, your return to Okzundu is welcome as the arrival of spring. Sonu knows why you came. Wicked hearts seek to bring chaos to our realm. And so the Zundu shall rise to its defense if needed. As the sun's rays chase away the shadows of night, the sundrop dance shall keep the tendrils of sleep at bay. Chief Sonuvanu, it's an honor to meet you. I'm Tentowa, and if this Sundrop dance is as invigorating as you say, I'd love to see it for myself. The Zundu shall dance before Ishgard's warriors upon their arrival. Brave Tentowa is welcome to join the proceedings. That was your original intent, right? I see. If we're to draw Leofine out, it makes sense to pretend like nothing's amiss. Zundu warriors unify their strength through the Sundrop dance, and the sight is so fearsome that many choose to flee rather than fight. Netherling warriors may learn much from such an approach. Breaking the enemy's spirit avoids needless bloodshed. Yet all dancers must hone their skills before wild animals first, but the Sundrop dance does not fail them at the most crucial moment. It is for that reason our dancers await at the outskirts of Oxundu for the Netherlings' arrival. When the performance begins, it shall draw the attention of all like a rolling cloud come over the horizon. Watch carefully for any who would take advantage of that moment. After the dance is finished, Netherlings will present the Zundu with... Chief Sonu! Netherling ship appears in skies like sudden sunshower, hurtling toward Earth. Swiftly it descends, crashing down near Zundu dancers. Ship's markings are Ishgardian. Zundu are unhurt, but wounded Netherlings pour from vessel. The Temple Knights would never harm the Zundu intentionally. Agreed, this has the scent of the enemy. Just as Sonu has no reason to doubt that the sun shall rise on the morrow, he has no reason to mistrust the Temple Knights. She saw right through us and now we're on the back foot. Great winds can alter even a raging river's course. What matters is to stand strong and move forward. And now we must offer aid to the Netherlings who come as guests. Right. Let's go. If this is the work of the Cradle, Leofine can't be far. We must tend to the wounded. I won't let her escape again. This ends today. One way or another. One way or another, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Wait, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you. There you are, Leofine. You came all this way just to greet me? Oh, I'm honored. I only hope my gift was satisfactory. 'Tis a shame you'll not see Ishgard crumble. Alas, I can scarcely suffer rats to scurry about my feet, threatening to gnaw away at my carefully laid plans. At least you bear witness to the dying breath of the Temple Knights' flagging honor. We would sooner see that wrecked airship soar again than their reputation return to its former glory. Yet even I did not foresee the Zundu would be in the ship's path. The fury favors me, for who now would trust a nation so careless as to put their neighbors at risk? Everyone knows you're behind this. People won't turn on each other so easily. Oh, I didn't see you there. The shut-eye, wide awake. Doubly honored I am that you came all this way just to meet your end. Enough. We're taking the Cradle back. We won't let your evil continue any longer. Such bold words. If I recall correctly, your people reaped great benefits from this artifact's powers, all at the cost of someone's waking life. Your life. But she consented. Pray, do not misunderstand me. That was not meant to be a denouncement of your people. On the contrary, they have my utmost respect. We are bound by our very nature. No matter how mighty we become, we are slaves to the whims of sleep. Yet this artifact can sunder those shackles and grant true freedom. Makes its wielder stronger and their enemies weak. A perfect weapon, if you ask me. Can't say whether using the cradle is right or wrong. I only know that life lived at the cost of another is no life at all. You're right about one thing. We are bound by our nature. But that doesn't shackle us. It brings us together. Whether I'm asleep or awake, as long as Loaz and Nikwi's by my side, that's the life I want. Show her no quarter. I'll be your shield. She's exhausted the Cradle's power on the Temple Knights. This is our chance. No plan is without wrinkles. Fortunately, I prepare for all contingencies. Leofine the Unchivalrous. You had an opportunity to live a quiet life, but I will not give it again. This time I shall send you into a slumber from which you will never awake. Get back the cradle or we take it back. All bluster as usual. Take it if you dare. Protect the Netherling warriors. Why must you resist? Succumb to the burden of sleep. Now, wash away darkness of sleep with the sun drop dance. Just stand there, kill them. Defend our allies. I'll take the other side. Why take the other side? I can just pipe them over here. You weren't a very good strategist, were you? Witness the Sundrop Dance, Netherling warriors, awaken! Everyone's awake! Mighty Zondu protects Netherling warriors. Keep cautious like Gaelicat under stormy skies. Now you're all alone. This ends now, Leofine. Why am I cursed with incompetence? Very well. Dance with me, wide-eye. To think it could hold such immense power. artifact isn't for such callous hands. Narwhal's blessing is only for those with the heart of a defender. Yes, narwhals. Truly, the most defensive. Nothing screams the soul of a defender like a narwhal. Huh? I didn't kill it. Her. The artifact swells with power. It begs to be released. Is she going to take on the form of a narwhal? Now you shut your eyes for the final time. Take a last glimpse of the waking world. I'll protect you until my last breath. He's so sleepy. I'm alright. What about Tentoa? Sleepy boy. You think this piece of wood is for protection? Such a cloying sentiment. Cursed insects, you lot. You lot, finish them off. Earn your freedom. On your feet, Tentoa. It's your duty as the Wide Eye. What? I was asleep. I owe you all my life. Thank you. Although, he would still have had his vigor drained. Zundu, go to help allies. May Zephyr winds guide you to victory. No, sleep is inexorable. How are they doing this? Far from finished. You will not withstand this. Others are just tools to you. Is that your idea of freedom? fucked up and didn't do interject. I attempted stun instead. Whoops. It's fine. Oh, you stubborn. You may have won today, but this is not over. Yes, it is. I so sleepy. Damned fool. Now! No! I dropped it. Curse my butterfingers. Now, put her into a permanent slumber. Say goodnight, Leofine. Oh! Okay, so she didn't just go to sleep. The wide eye watches eternal, and eternal is the sleep it bestows. We finally stopped her. Yes, but we have someone else to worry about. After, wake up. Are you alright? Huh. Only she would smile at a time like this. I'm just having a nice dream. It's just me stepping on Xenos' face repeatedly. She's awake. Your work is done. You did a commendable job as our shield, and now you can lay down your burden. It was thanks to your bravery I was able to deal the final blow to Leofine. And with the cradle back in our possession, I think we can consider this expedition across the seas to be a success. The Zundu helped us gather the wounded and see them safely off to Ishgard. We couldn't have done it without you. Netherlings protect allies as fiercely as Galacat protecting kittens. Zundu are moved by your might. You were equally as impressive. I should learn the Sundrop dance myself, though I won't strike a figure half as fierce as yours. Ah ha ha ha, ah ha ha ha, ah ha. The Zundu seem to have everything well in hand, and Hondalupe's likely eager to see us. We should return to Ishgard as soon as possible. The heroes of the day have returned. Thanks to your valor, the threat Leofine posed is no more. What's more, not a single life was lost. On behalf of the Temple Knights, allow me to express my utmost gratitude to you all. You don't owe me any thanks. After all, it was my fault the cradle was stolen in the first place. And ultimately, my fault your delegation to Oxundu turned into a melee. It may be true that our visit to the Sea of Clouds was far from peaceful, but the bond between the Zundu and the Temple Knights has only deepened through overcoming mutual adversity. Blessings often take inscrutable forms. And while we may not know, while we know whether Leofine yet lives, we do know that she can no longer reach the source of her ill-gotten power, so we have little more to fear from her. With the crisis behind us, the common folk no longer have aught to fear. We will make known the story of Leofine's schemes and the heroes who work to foil them, and in time I hope that trust in our order will be restored. The Temple Knights shall continue to build relations with our neighbours for years to come, relations which shall form the foundation for Ishgard's future. We would be honoured if we could count you among our allies in this endeavour. Anything you need, simply call upon us. We'll be there, no questions asked. And with that, it's time we returned home. It's been an honour. We'll be passing through Tuliolal on the way back. If you have business in those parts, we'd love to speak with you at Jabali of Tie before setting off. See you soon, hopefully. Do. After, there you are. I was worried we wouldn't see you before we left. 2 matches played, 2 wins, 0 kills. Oof. We arrived not long ago and apprised Brook Evu of everything that happened. This is the longest I've spent away from our village, but even though Tuliolal and Ishgard were like entirely different worlds to me, I was only ever treated with kindness. Is anything the matter, Tentowa? Nothing, it's just something I've been thinking about. Our people have always been self-sufficient, but the Ishgardians and the Zundu showed that looking to your neighbour can reveal a way through the harshest difficulties. And you heard Hondalut, the bond between Ishgard and Oxundu is only made deeper through their shared ordeal. To trust another to such a degree, well, I think it's a goal we should all strive toward. We have at least one friend like that, don't we? She who bent her ears to every note of the narwhal's lullaby without a shade of fear in her eyes. Thank you. For believing in us. For believing that no matter the outcome, your actions would not be in vain. In so doing, you taught me the worth of fighting alongside allies you can trust. Even if your shield breaks, that is not the end. You're right. It's our faith in our allies, and their faith in us, that gives us the courage to protect each other. But approaching someone with open arms doesn't mean they'll accept you. The relations between our people and our neighbours have been strained by generations of mistrust, and we must take care to mend them properly. If we can do that and learn to look toward the future hand in hand, then there'll be no need to use the cradle ever again. People can sleep and dream untroubled and awaken with bright eyes. I want to see those days come to pass. Me too. Then you and I can finally spend more time together. Right, of course. If we're going to see this future, then we should get back to our village. You'll be overjoyed to see the cradle returned. Thank you for everything. Next time we meet, may we both have good news to share. And there we go. No sleep till Tuliolal. Okay, so there is a new quest. I don't want to do it right now because it's 1:15, and in less than 11 hours, I start my 24-hour stream. So I should probably go and do that. Do the sleep before the 24-hour stream. I'm gonna be sleepy. Yes. Yes, I am. So, thank you very much for watching.